The RMP is unique because it measures intrinsic motivation. It provides a deeper understanding of who you are. Other tests measure the surface personality traits. We measure why you do something and why you have certain personality traits. Let's take the example of social contact. On the MBTI will tell you if you're an extrovert or an introvert. We explain to you why you are outgoing and why you are private. So for the RMP, we give you an exact measure of how much socialization you're interested in your life. If you end up having a high score on the social contact intrinsic motive, we know that you are going to seek out a lot of companionship with peers. You're going to want to go to parties, you're going to want to host social events in your own home, you're going to be interested in a job where you're interacting with people on a regular basis. We can make those kinds of predictions, and we explain that by saying that you value companionship with peers, you value a sense of belonging. On the other hand, if you have a weak need for social contact, we know that you value privacy and solitude, and so we can make predictions about your behavior. And we can explain why you like to have solitary hobbies, why you prefer a job that doesn't involve a lot of interaction with other people, and why you might prefer to play an individual sport rather than a team sport. So these are the kinds of precise predictions that we can make about behavior and the explanations that we can make about why you have the certain personality traits that you do. The RMP is scientific because it was developed empirically. Unlike other tests, we did not assume we knew what are the goals that motivate or drive human behavior. What my husband did was conduct surveys with thousands of people from diverse walks of life, people from different continents, and then he used a statistical methodology called factor analysis that allowed him to discover what are the goals that motivate or drive human behavior. And what he discovered was that there were 16 of them. What other test developers do is assume that there are a certain number of goals that motivate people, and then they write items to assess those goals. But those goals were based on assumptions made about what drives human behavior, not on data. The RMP was based on data, not assumptions about what motivates people. The RMP is comprehensive because it assesses all the motives that drive human behavior, not just the ones that are considered relevant to the business world. So we have a motive for curiosity, which is the desire for understanding. This tells you how much you like to think. Obviously, this motive is very important for understanding students in school who may be underachieving their potential. We also have a motive for physical activity, how much you like to move your muscles, a motive that's very relevant to athletes, and it's also very relevant to medical professionals who are trying to get their patients to develop a healthier lifestyle and lose weight. So the RMP is comprehensive because it assesses everything that drives your behavior. You don't leave part of your personality at the door when you walk into your office. All of your motives, all of your goals, all of your values go with you. So it's important to understand the entire person, not just the employee. The RMP is individualized because we don't categorize people into types. Other tests assign a label such as a string of letters or a color or some other designation that puts people into types. We don't do that. The RMP measures your traits along a continuum, which is the way researchers say we should be measuring traits, whether those are physical traits or personality traits. Let me give you a good example. If the MBTI methodology were used to assess heights of people, they would end up with two categories. Some people would be called tall, some people would be called short. We don't do that at the RMP. What we do is measure the trait along a continuum, so we're able to say somebody is 6 feet 0 inches, or somebody is 5 feet 10 inches, or somebody is 5 feet 4 inches. But we don't make artificial divisions and just put you into a tall or short category. The RMP is comparable because the results are expressed in standard scores. So we're able to say, for example, that person A has a significantly stronger need for self-reliance than does person B, or that person A has a significantly weaker need for structure and stability than person B. The MBTI and other tests that use a type methodology cannot compare people that way. And to give you a good example of that, the MBTI places people into either an extroversion category or an introversion category. But if person A follows just over the cutoff into extroversion and person B follows just below the cutoff for extroversion, they're basically the same people. There's no significant difference between them, even though they've been categorized into different types. The RMP is transparent because our website contains a wealth of information about how the test was developed and how it was validated. We have summaries of all of the research that was done on the test, and we have links to the actual scientific journal articles. We claim that the RMP is the science of motivation, and our website provides the evidence to back up that claim.